It seems everyone wants the people inside Iran to step forward and overthrow their government. And with the strike package right now focused on the military, we wonder what is the current condition of the armed resistance groups within Iran. We recall the protests back in June that led to so many being killed.
In June 2026 alone, at least 135 strikes, demonstrations, and protests were reported nationwide. At the same time, Iran's organized resistance entered a new phase. During the first 10 days of July, resistance units affiliated with the People's Mojahedin Organization of Iran, PMOI-MEK, carried out more than 100 coordinated actions in over 20 cities. Across major cities, slogans such as "Hail to Rajavi" have appeared on walls, bridges, and placards. Their slogans make clear what they reject: death to the oppressor, be it the Shah or the leader. No to the crown, no to the turban.
The Mujahideen has been leading attacks against IRGC officials, assassinations, even efforts to abduct the supreme leader. Many of those have failed, and this is quite the paradox in Iran, because the more there is encouragement for people to stand up and fight back, the more the very people you would need to build a civil society are summarily rounded up and executed. Listen to this Mujahideen fighter within Iran describe his motivations.
روزی که خمینی دجال قدم شومش را در این میهن گذاشت، جز ریختن خون مظلوم این سرزمین چیزی شکنجه و تجاوز و چشم درآوردن و غیره کار این جماعت وحشی و خونخوار است. ذره کمی از این ظلم‌ها هم وجدان هر انسانی رو به درد می‌آورد و برایم کافی است که تصمیم بگیرم تا آخرین لحظه عمرم از مبارزه با دیکتاتوری کوتاه نیاید.
You may ask, where is this Mujahideen fighter now? The answer, he's dead. He was executed, rounded up by the Iranian regime and killed. And so there is a battle for the streets of Iran that's happening right now, but it's a battle overwhelmingly being won by the IRGC. So I think when you hear voices in the West stand up and say, oh, if we just had the people of Iran rising up in the streets, if we just had them assemble, well, it's easy to look at and understand what is and is not causing them to assemble in mass. Here's the funeral of their slain supreme leader. Joining us now is a member of that armed resistance group that operates inside and outside of Iran, the MEK, Ali Safavi. Ali, we've just played for our audience the video of one of your MEK fighters before he was executed by the IRGC. What is the current state of the armed resistance within Iran, and what are the operations that you believe lie ahead?
Well, first of all, good to be with you, Matt, and thank you for the opportunity. Well, the resistance units of the Mujahideen Khalq are quite active in response to all of the executions that we have been witness to, including two on July 28th. They have carried out many operations, some 60 over the past week, and that continues. And I think I can use this to segue into 1988, 38 years ago, when at that time the MEK's National Liberation Army captured the Iranian city of Mehran, destroyed two divisions of the IRGC and the regular army, took 1,500 prisoners, brought to the Iraqi side of the border some 60 chieftain tanks plus $2 billion worth of weaponry. And that prompted Khomeini, who had refused to accept the resolution 598 calling for a ceasefire in the Iran-Iraq war, to accept it immediately. Because the slogan of the fighters was at that time, today Mehran, that was the city that was captured, tomorrow Tehran. So Khomeini knew what the threat was. Now, fast forward 38 years back to 2026, that resistance army is inside Iran and operating, which is why we have said all along that yes, talks are necessary, military pressure is necessary, but these are tools, not a strategy. The strategy is to empower, to lend political support to the organized opposition inside Iran to topple this regime, and there's no way around it whatsoever. And to take, just not to take my points, but the proof of it is the dramatic spike in the executions of protesters. Some 30 protesters have been executed since March 19. 9 members of the MEK have been executed. Some 60 protesters and MEK affiliates are on death row as we speak. And interestingly, on July 28th, when 2 young men were being hanged, thousands of people in the city of Isfahan came to the streets at dawn and protested the executions, and the regime used sharpshooters, they used the paramilitary besiege, tear gas to try to disperse the crowd. So basically what this tells us is that Iran is like a powder cake, and it might ignite at any moment, and the regime uses this fog of war to, as a shield to prevent that uprising from taking shape. A few days ago, the Iranian regime foreign minister, Arakchi, had a lengthy interview with the regime's state television, and he said, for us, the cost of not fighting is basically more than the cost of fighting, which goes to show why, despite signing the MOU with the United States, they have basically continued their attacks, missile attacks, drone attacks against various targets, US forces, and of course their own neighbors. So that is why we have said all along, as Mrs. Rajavi has said, that there's talks, appeasement, negotiations, war is not the answer. The answer is the third way, which is to empower the Iranian people and the organized opposition. And I think time has proven.
Let me ask about that, because to believe in that strategy, to believe that negotiation and diplomacy isn't the right way, and this third way of empowering resistance forces in Iran achieves the outcome, you have to believe in their prospects for success. So you talked about these 60 operations over the last several months that the MEK has been involved in. Describe for us the most successful of those operations.
Well, of course, the most successful one was, which goes to show the ability of the resistance to organize, to coordinate in the heart of Tehran, was the February 23rd assault on Khamenei's compound involving 250
But that ended terrible.
Fighters.
Half of your fighters were killed or captured. That was the most successful one?
Well, of course.
Because Khomeini survived, but the MEK did not.
Yes, that is correct. But obviously, the fight for freedom exacts a price. What is important is that since then, the regime, despite all of the arrests, despite all of the executions, had failed to stop these operations from continuing. And when I say 60 operations, it wasn't in the past several months. It was just last week. And this continued to expand. In fact, the IRGC issued a statement 2 days ago.
What was the most successful in the last week, Ali? What was the most successful one in the last week?
Yeah, they attacked several IRGC bases. They attacked the Basij bases. They attacked some of the institutions of repression, to a point where the IRGC issued a statement, and it said that what MEK is doing right now and their active role in the January 2026 uprising was reminiscent of the Operation Eternal Light back in 1988, when the MEK forayed 100 miles into Iran to the gates of my hometown Kermanshah and fought the regime, 200,000 regime forces for 4 days. So what this goes to tell you is that this resistance within Iran has the capacity, has the ability, and has the determination to take the fight to the IRGC. What it needs is for the international community.
That is the ultimate question. Yes, exactly. No, you've made that appeal. it'll take more than resolutions to defeat the IRGC. The IRGC is in control of the country now. Your group continues to lay siege on some of their assets, but they are in the control of the country currently, and it'll be interesting to see how it progresses. Ali Safavi, member of the MEK, thanks as always for coming on and sharing your perspective.
Thank you very much, Matt.
It is very likely that this war is going to continue. That means Congress will print more money, spend more money. It's not great news for the U.S. dollar. The dollar could not go as far, and so many people are looking for real-world assets. That's where my friends at Fisher Liberty can help. You go to gatesgold.com or call 800-617-5373, and you're going to get all the information about where expert markets are seeing the possibilities for wealth protection and growth in gold and in silver. And if you do that, qualifying purchases can earn up to $20,000 in free physical silver. These folks have been doing things the right way. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. They've been around since 2007. Check them out at gatesgold.com. They will white glove a full tax-free rollover for you. And make sure you let them know that we sent you.